light. So sound and light signaling. And before there was light, there was the water and the sound. So sound and light signals come into the cells, and the DNA is in a matrix of water, mostly structured. Star of David, like he held on his shield for protection. This whole concept of your DNA acting as a spiritual receiver and uplifter. Sources from the mathematics, and it's not what the Rockefeller eugenics industry tells us DNA is all about. They say the function of DNA is to serve as a template for the production of new proteins. You have DNA going to RNA to amino acid, bringing together amino acids at the ribosome, the genetic or the controlled protein manufacturing station of the cell to build new proteins and cell parts. That's what they say all of genetics is about. It's a template, they say. But you know what that is? It's less than 4%. It's about 3% of the function of DNA. Just like you're using 95% of your brains, they've secreted and suppressed that part of you, just like they've done the same thing with genetics. 93% of the function of DNA is light and sound reception and transmission. Photon, phonon, reception, transmission for intercellular communication and cellular upregulation. Now, to further share with you and show you the science by which I can share with you assuredly, your DNA is an antenna to the Creator that operates like a Tesla coil because of the creative juice in you. Water, specifically, most frequently, the matrix of DNA is the six-sided hexagonal-shaped structured water molecule. And this is from science that Lee Lorenzen shared with me, and he shared with Dr. Emoto. This is from the journal Science. This is from Ron Sakeley's team, University of California, Berkeley, water scientists, who took DNA and evaluated how much energy potential is held in the genetic strands, and then changed the structured water matrix. They pulled the water out of the matrix and then rechecked to see if the strands were still spiritually or energetically active. And so here you can see 4 strands of DNA in that beautiful Tesla coil structure. Here particularly you can see, if you lay this on its side, you see the structure of the double wing in Rodin's infinity pattern. And here you see negative 212. Here is negative 217 as an energy measure. And if they eliminated as little as 8% of the structured water out of the matrix, you lose the structure. It unfolds, and look at what happens to the energy signaling. Negative 12.3 goes down dramatically. So this is what I'm saying to you. Now, in the last segment, you learned about how the heart, we talked about how the heart is resonating at 528 love hertz frequency to the center of the universe, resonating in sync. Your heartbeat is timed, ideally by nature, exactly like that. You're in communion with nature. It has the heart-mind intelligence. It provides that intuitive or right brain function, and that the connection to the sacred spiraling of all the DNA is operating through this water-filled structure. That's what's really uplifting, and that the energy that's being, again, pumped out of you in tune with the Creator is all working in sync. It's like a divine harmony. Again, that's why I say it's the universal orchestra. The master conductor, master composer of the universal orchestra is singing love songs to everything, uplifting everything simultaneously, particularly you, through this antenna, which is in every single cell. That means that every single cell of your body has this energy capability. It has this divine intelligence. So the concept that your being, your whole being is this, as I said, bioholographic precipitation, crystallization, miraculous manifestation of divine frequency vibration coming to you in living color. And you think about this for a second. Again, going back, to how it's right in front of your face. This concept of how we're going to get out of this mess. This concept of the music that shall set us free. Think about the most famous band, rock band in history. The Beatles. But what did the Beatles give us? That is exactly what I'm telling you. They gave you a feature-length movie, an animation called Yellow Submarine. What was the whole storyline? It was where you had this magnificent people full of living color. All they were doing is vibing and being creative in love and harmony, and they were playing divine music and symphonies from Sgt. Pepper playing for the community to the quartets, and all of a sudden, who comes along but the Blue Meanies? You know, this concept of beware of those who call themselves Jews who are not, said the Messiah. Today it's beware of those who call themselves Christians who are not, or beware of those who call themselves Muslims who are not. Anyway, the concept of this being a Jewish conspiracy, this globalist manipulation, a Jewish conspiracy, is in the film. You have the professor, the wise old professor, the nowhere man. This Blue Meanies come and attack, and the big boss, the crime boss, is approached by the professor, and he says, "You don't look bluish. Beware of those who call themselves Jews who are not." And then what happens is that the military of the Blue Meanies come and they take away all the music. They take the instruments. They incarcerate the instruments. And the living color, divinely created people turn into fragile black and white. That little bombs go off, mostly sound vibration bombs that shake them and they fall into pieces. And it was the mission of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band to rally the troops, to infiltrate, to release the instruments that are being captive.
So we have a choice that we can remain in dissonance, or we could literally vibe to a new song. That's a fulfillment of the book of Revelation 14:1. Where 144,000 people who hear this message, that they feel it in their hearts, and they make a choice to sing in a new key, a key of love. You reconcile from that Jesus' entire ministry. Jesus, a devout Jew, Mosaic scholar, a rabbi, absolutely said that you can distill everything to two things: love of the Creator and love for each other as brothers and sisters. And that requires us to get a new look at ourselves, to get over the traumas and the abuses and all of the issues of self-hate, all the little images that we've taken on from the mass mind-controlling media, that we compare ourselves with models 10s when we perceive ourselves to be 2s and 3s. And from that, we have a distorted image of ourselves. And from that, a block happens. We no longer love ourselves. Our hearts, the energy from our hearts, literally degenerate. We become a shell of the person, the spirit-filled, loving, capable, worthy human being that we were intended to be. That's how the manipulation and control has happened. We have a choice about that. We can say, yes, indeed, now based on this evidence, that yes, that's part of nature, part of God's plan. But if you think about it, your own life, you never grew, you never learned the easy way, did you? You always learned primarily by pain or trauma. Lessons learned the hard way, the streets of hard knocks. That's what gave us the best lessons, the most enduring choice-making lessons. That's what we're talking about here. The question is, are we fed up enough with self-loathing? Are we fed up enough of being manipulated, mind-controlled into ignorance, dissonance, division, dividing men from women, black from white, gay from straight, Jew from Gentile, Christian from Muslim, right to left, Democrat from Republican? That's the name of the dissonant game. Divide and conquer. This whole concept of love, the universal healer, is what the book of 528 is all about. The beauty of this is that more and more of us play music in the key of love. It's like a pebble in a pond. You throw a pebble in a pond and the waves flow out in circle array to the farthest shores. The universe is made of water. Not only does the Bible say that, but NASA science proved that about 10 years ago when they discovered water throughout space. That means when you play 528 or sing, even better, in 528, that energy flows virtually universally, certainly across the planet, affecting as a miracle frequency the hearts of humanity, so that the heart chakras are open and beginning to spin. And as we spin this in terms of the eliminating the dissonance and regenerating the harmony, and so that's really what the book of 528 is. It's a slam dunk on the science and the mathematics of love. You'll recognize after reading this book that there's not only the scientific proof, then it's very interesting for, left brain rational Harvard graduates like myself to kind of like consider what is this? Is this for real or is this some scam? And then when you see and you are faced with the realities, such as the chlorophyll molecule resonates in love. That's why it's like matches the heart of the rainbow, which is greenish yellow, which is 528 hertz frequency, which is exactly like the tone that's coming from the sun as measured by NASA science. You begin to realize that if you want to satisfy your left brain and your ego, you can do that with the book of 528. But that's really not where the action is. The action is in your heart mind, not your ego mind. And so the beauty of the revelations in the book of 528 is that we can literally accept that evil and poor choice making is a part of nature, is a part of human development and even evolution of the species and involved in survival of the fittest for sure. But you know what? It's secondary to the sustaining miraculous power of love. And that's in your heart.